Hello. For this module, what we'll be doing is looking at using PubMed and Google Scholar for your literature search. And so I'm going to show you first how to use Google Scholar, and then I'm going to show you how to use PubMed, and then finally I'm going to show you how to use EndNote. Starting with Google Scholar. Before we go all into that, just a couple of things that I wanted to, you need to know as someone who's beginning a literature search. The first thing that you need to know is you need to have a research question. So that's the basic thing. We touched on that, I think, either in module one or sorry, module two or module three. I can't remember, but we did touch on that in the previous module. So that's what you need to begin with. You need to have your research question, and your research question depends on your area of interest, and of course you need to know what your population is, and also what your unit of analysis is going to be. That kind of helps you in drafting your research question. But you can also watch the video added with the assigned viewing. That kind of really takes you through ABC of coming up with a research question. So that would help. So after you have gotten your research question, the next thing to do is to select your keywords. Now your keywords come from your research question, and you need a combination of keywords. So you need to be looking at 3 to 4 keywords. You don't want to have too few keywords, because if you have too few keywords, you're going to be shown a lot of potential papers that you can read, which will end up being too much, or just it will take you in all different direction. If you have too many keywords, it could narrow your search so much that you may end up excluding so many articles that would have been very useful to you. So I want to usually say 3 to 5. But of course, as you're doing the search yourself, you may need to tinker things up a bit, depending on what your result is coming up, meaning that you may want to reduce the number of keywords, or you may want to increase the number of keywords, or you may actually find out that none of the keywords that you had previously selected was giving you the results that you want, and you may want to make amends and come up with similar, keywords that are similar, synonymous with what you had used before. So that can also help. So after you have, decided what your research question is, what your keywords are, then what you need to do is you need to type in those keywords into your search box, both in Google and PubMed. So, and then you use things like and or for the to combine the search the keywords. Like I mentioned, you're using like 3 to 5 keywords, and you're using them all at the same time, different ways. So you want to combine them, and you use the and, or you use the or. I'm going to show you where you have different uses for that, but those are the what you need for your combination of your keywords. And then finally, after it has yielded you the result that you want, now you have to refine your search by reading through the abstracts, because the abstracts will then let you know whether this is an article that is going to be useful to you, or is an article that is not going to be useful to you, because you don't want to waste time on articles that are not going to be useful to you. So, in summary, first thing to do is determine your research question. Second thing is determine the keywords that you use for the search. Third, review the titles and of the articles for search for relevancy. And then after you have reviewed the titles, you can look at the abstract. Depending on the what your search is, you may want to only stick to papers that have full text. I'm going to show you the difference between papers that have full text and papers that don't have full text. The reason being that full papers with full text give you that opportunity to read through the entire paper, so that you understand what it is that they are saying. So if you have options of having titles that seem similar or useful, you may want to focus your attention on those with full text. text rather than those without full text. And so, but if you then find that you have enough articles that have full text, then you can then have those, and then you now read the abstract to determine relevancy. And then the next thing to do is, after you've trim it down to the abstracts that are useful to you, you then have to read the entire article, the full text, by looking for the relevant information that you need. So that is the long and short of it, of how to do your research, your literature search. So an example. So let's say the research question that I'm thinking about using, is how do the different, sorry, take this off. How do the different population of children with ADHD in America, so I'm going to change it to United States rather than America, United States. How do the different how do the different populations of children in ADHD in the United States receive treatment? Let me just put that as medical treatment so that it's quite clear. Now, the population, now we're looking at population. Now we know that we're looking at children with ADHD, and we already know that the location we're interested in is United States. And we know that, in terms of every kind of treatment, we are just focused on medical treatment. So that kind of gives us an idea of what it is that we're looking at. So your potential keywords that you can use now is, you can use children, of course, and you need to add ADHD so that it doesn't take you on a white goose chase. So you have children, you have ADHD, you have United States, you have treatment, diagnosis, service utilization. Now, this treatment, diagnosis, and service utilization are all things that can fall under medical treatment, because if you just put in medical treatment, it may be a bit too broad and it will give you too many results. So you may want to use specific terms that can help you in defining what we mean by medical treatment. In this case, being treatment, diagnosis, service utilization, or help you. So now you need to combine those keywords. So let's say I have ADHD, and so you have keyword number one, that's ADHD. Keyword number two is children. Keyword number three is United States. Keyword number four is treatment. Keyword number five is diagnosis. And keyword number six is utilization. Okay. So those are the keywords that I have. Now I use I use and to combine these keywords, so that I'm telling it that when it is looking for information, I want it to find articles that have keywords of ADHD, and have keywords of children, and have keyword of United States, and have keywords of treatment, and have keywords of diagnosis, and have keywords of service utilization. So ideally, I want articles that have all of these keywords. That is ideally. You don't always get articles that have all those keywords. You may have articles that have most of the keywords, but you still have to put it there because that's what you would much desire. Alternatively, you can decide that instead of putting in treatment, diagnosis, healthcare service utilization, you just decide to put it down as healthcare treatment. A healthcare service to take care of what you mean by treatment, diagnosis, and utilization. That is the term that you use in place of those, and you still have your ends and stuff to go with that. Now, if you wanted to use all, in this case, so let's say we want to do same ADHD and children, and let's say sorry, still going with United States because that one is pretty. And then you have diagnosis or treatments. So what happens with this is that you're asking it. What this search word mean is that you're asking it that when it's looking for articles, it should look for articles that have ADHD children in United States, or and have diagnosis, or have treatments. So it's saying that, even if an article doesn't have both of this, if it has any one of the two, add it to what it is that I'm looking for. So that is where the all comes into it, and so that is where that where you have that. So that is that. So let me now show you how that works out in terms of the search itself. Let's see. I want to remove this one. Okay, I am tempted. All right, let me remove this so that yeah. So I've removed that part, and then let us do the search itself. So I want to go into Google Scholar, so I'm going to type Google Scholar, and I go into Google Scholar here, and this is where I have all my where I'm going to put in the search. So now I'm going to pick one of the search combination searches that I found. I'm going to use the first one, and let's put that in, and that would be best. And let's go back and make sure everything is all good. Yeah, so that's the first one, and I've asked it to look for articles, and I will click on this, and then it pulls a couple of information for me. Now it's telling me that it has pulled 35,700 results. Those are the number of articles that it has pulled. Now I have to go through all of them. And like I said, when you have this many articles, you may want to only focus on those that have full text. So, and it says full text at Southeastern. And so when you click that or Southeastern, you get, let's see, it's popping up. You get the entire article. So this is the entire article that you need for it. However, if it's an article that doesn't have the full text. Let's see. If you also see full view, it also means that if you see PDF, usually PDF means you use the full text, and sometimes this also means it's the full text. But one thing that I know for sure is that once it has PDF or full text or full view, you are getting an article that has all of it. I'm looking for an article that doesn't have a full text so that I'll show you what that looks like. Let's see. Um, okay, so this is an article that doesn't have a full text. What it has is just the abstract. So in the abstract, it talks about the study design, the result, the conclusion. You don't get to see any other information about the text. So you're not able to read through to see the information that is, to see the full information that is in the article. However, this article, because I have EndNote already downloaded on my system, it means that when I click here, it's telling me that EndNote already has that article available. And I'm assuming that what it means is that somebody has that article available on their EndNote, and EndNote was able to pull it out for me. Therefore, I can just click on that, and it will take me to EndNote where I get to see everything. Let's see if I click on that, if it takes me to EndNote. All right, let me add the part about the EndNote bit. Okay. All right. So that is the article on EndNote, which EndNote is pulling up now. So basically, that's where it goes to show me. Sometimes you get to see articles that do not have EndNotes or components part of it, so that even if you click on it, you don't get. I'm trying to see if I can find one of those articles. This might be one of those. So you click on that. So, all right. So this one does not have EndNotes to it. which means all it has is the abstract. So if I wanted to know more thing about it, I don't get to see it because it's just the abstract that it has. So if an account has one that has EndNote, even though it's not typically full text, but EndNote can pull it out, then that's what you want to go, which means it's very important for you to have EndNote, and because it does help you to access the full text. So if you have EndNote, you can add the EndNote extension in Google. In your Google search engine, and it's able to have that interaction. So that is that for that, how to add in the search. So now the first, like I said, first thing, determine your password, your keywords, review the title of the article for relevance. So now what you do is, after you just pulled out all of this 35,000 articles. Of course, it's way more than you would ever need. What you then have to do is to read through the titles first of all. So you have ADHD and health service utilization in the National Health Insurance Survey. This is pretty very good. It has the information that I need. It has health service utilization. It has ADHD. It has the United States. It has treatment and stuff like that, service use. So it's pretty. It doesn't have all the keywords, but it has enough that is going to be very useful to me. And this also will be very useful. It's talking about service utilization, but now right now it's talking about ethnic minority children, which kind of fits in with my research question. Remember, my research question is, how do the different populations of children with ADHD? So ethnic minority children is a different population of children in this case. So this, goes in with my research question, and it does, talk about diagnosis, talks about treatment, talks about service use. So it's a pretty good article for what it is that I need as well. And then you have the willingness to use ADHD treatment and mixed methods. And this also is talking about diagnosis, because it says ADHD detection, and it has service use in the United States. And, it's pretty much very close to what it is that I'm looking for. And then this has prevalence of ADHD diagnosis and treatment in 4 school districts across 2 states. Also very good. So another thing to look for is you want to check the year of the publication. This is where it says the year. This is a 2009 paper. 2009 is a bit. How many years ago is that? It's quite old. So generally, I want to look for articles that are within 5 years. But if within your 5 years it's not giving you many articles, or it's just giving you, just a few, you may want to stretch it a little bit to go into 10 years. But try not to go too far, because, the way research works is that the older papers are, the older research is, the less relevant it can become. It doesn't mean it's always not relevant. It just means it may not be relevant with the time. You could use it, but if you can find a newer article, use the newer article. So that is something to pay attention to. So that's that for using Google Scholar, and I'm now going to talk to you guys about using PubMed, and yeah.